The teaser trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi released today along with 8 images from Entertainment Weekly. Calling it a teaser hopefully means we'll get a full trailer in the next 2.5 months, but for now, let's go over everything we have finally, officially seen from this series. The opening shots feel like they're lifted directly out of John Jackson Miller's Legends novel, Kenobi. I'm not expecting this series to take a whole lot of inspiration from that story, but watching Obi-Wan, or Ben I should say, travel on his Eopie back and forth from his home to town for supplies is very familiar. I would love it if he called his Eopie Rue, just for old time's sake. Kenobi's voiceover says, "The fight is done, we lost." Who is he talking to? Maybe himself. Maybe he's writing in his journal, which we've seen from the comics. Maybe he's communing with Yoda. Maybe he's speaking with Qui-Gon Jinn. The book Skywalker, A Family at War by Kristen Baver says, before he and Yoda had parted ways, the old Jedi revealed that Obi-Wan's beloved master Qui-Gon Jinn had returned from the netherworld of the Force, manifesting his conscious mind even after death. It took 10 years, but eventually Obi-Wan was able to commune with his dearest friend resurrected within the cosmic force. It's interesting that the book, which came out last year, specifies that 10-year timeline, which just so happens to line up directly with the series. I'm just saying. Also, to cut over to one of the Entertainment Weekly images, we can see that Ben is currently living in a cave with nothing more than a small mattress and a pillow. It's possible this could be like a home away from home while he spies on Luke and the Lars family, or maybe he has gone all in on this mission. Maybe he feels like he deserves to live this way. Ewan McGregor says in the Entertainment Weekly article that we find Obi-Wan at the beginning of our story rather broken and faithless and beaten, somewhat given up. I like the idea that over the course of this series, Obi-Wan could learn to forgive himself a little bit for his failure with Anakin. By the end, he could actually move into a home and allow himself to have a life. The cave also harkens back to an original idea for Star Wars A New Hope that Obi-Wan would have lived in a cave and not a hut, so that's a fun little nod. And the cave is giving me some slight Mortis vibes when he last spoke with Qui-Gon, or potentially a vision of Qui-Gon. I'll admit that's a bit more of a stretch. I'm seeing what I want to see, but I'm just saying. I really want Qui-Gon to be in this. Anyway, we actually do see Obi-Wan spying on the Lars family, and they go ahead and show us that yes, a young Luke is in this. I'm glad they're not playing coy with that, it makes sense, and I love that we're seeing a young Luke exactly as he should be. It looks like he's pretending to pilot a pod racer with goggles, just like his fathers. I mean, it's possible they are his fathers. Maybe Shmi brought them to the Lars homestead. But this is great, seeing Luke dreaming of adventure and excitement, all his life as he looked away to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on where he was. I will say, I kind of hope this is the extent of what we get with Luke. I don't mind seeing him more, but I like the idea that we just see Luke as Obi-Wan gets to see him off in the distance. But Luke has certainly met Ben by the time of A New Hope, so we might see that. I just don't want them to go overboard with Luke. Then the Lucasfilm logo comes on and Duel of the Fates starts playing, and that song is like a give fans chills for free card. I think and hope this series will be really special, since it literally does bridge the timelines between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, but I feel like this series might be the most balanced story we've ever seen between the two, at least in live action. But we're not just bringing in elements from the prequels and the originals, we're also going to see some stuff from animation and video games, and you know I love that. And again, they're not keeping it secret in the marketing. We're getting the Inquisitors from Star Wars Rebels, and we're visiting the Fortress Inquisitorius from Fallen Order. Just in case you haven't seen Rebels or played that game, Inquisitors are Jedi hunters under the command of Darth Vader, led by a Grand Inquisitor, and their headquarters is on the planet Nur, which is just around the corner from Mustafar and Vader's castle. The tower in the ocean very much matches the design of the Fortress Inquisitorius from Fallen Order, and I'm feeling some vindication after guessing and hoping it would appear in this series after seeing some of the underwater concept art back in November. The Grand Inquisitor's narration says the key to hunting a Jedi is patience, and we see him. I'll admit, he looks a little off to me. I wish he looked a little more menacing like the Powans from Revenge of the Sith, but that's a minor gripe. I also wouldn't be surprised if he had a more minor role in this, delegating the Jedi hunting to his underlings. We see 3 other Inquisitors throughout the trailer and also in their little underwater boardroom, and I have to say it's a nice touch that one of the chairs looks exactly like Vader's castle. It looks like our primary villain is a character called Reva, played by Moses Ingram. Entertainment Weekly says she will prove a formidable new foe as she seeks out Jedi in hiding for the Empire. Director Deborah Chow and writer Joby Harold describe the character as ruthlessly ambitious. It's interesting that she is called by her name and not a title like the Third Sister or something, which is the normal custom, but we know the names of lots of the existing Inquisitors. I assume she does have a title, we just don't know it yet. The Grand Inquisitor continues, Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it. I love that, because again, to point to the Kenobi novel or the comics, Obi-Wan obviously doesn't want to stand by and let injustices happen. He's living around the corner from people like Jabba the Hutt. He still wants to do the right thing and defend the defenseless, but he can't make a big show of it throwing his lightsaber around, so maybe something is going to happen, and Kenobi takes things a little too far in the first episode, and the Inquisitors catch wind of it. We see Obi-Wan on like some sort of public transport to a city, and I'm guessing that's him leaving the planet. I've been skeptical of him leaving Tatooine during the series, but as long as he left for a good reason, I said I would get on board. Leaving specifically to protect Luke and throw the Inquisitors off his scent is a perfect reason, because the Inquisitors definitely come to Tatooine, and I love that image of Reva confronting Owen Lars. The idea that the Inquisitors get so close to Luke without even knowing it is very exciting to me. And just look at Owen. I hope he and Beru get a decent amount of screen time in this. In Entertainment Weekly, Deborah Chow said, "Thank you, George, for casting Joel Edgerton as Uncle Owen. That's all I can say." I would really love to explore his relationship with Kenobi in this if there's time. This whole series could be one of the major incidents that really turns Owen against him, fearing the old Jedi will bring more and more trouble straight to their doorstep. But if Obi-Wan does something on Tatooine to attract attention, he probably needs to run off to another planet and do something even more obvious to draw the Inquisitors to him. Basically act like he's traveling the galaxy helping people instead of just sitting on Tatooine protecting one person. And that other major planet we see, the very cool-looking neon one, is probably his next move. According to Entertainment Weekly, it's called Daiyu. Writer Joby Harold says it's got a graffiti-ridden nightlife and it's kind of edgy. It's just got a different lane and a different feeling. There we get better looks at two of the other Inquisitors. One of them is new, and I'm not sure of her species. The other is the fifth brother from Star Wars Rebels, played by Sung Kang, and I just want to point out that their costumes are all very accurate. The armor, the helmets, the lightsabers on their backs, and of course the fact that they spin around. It'll be interesting to see all of this in live action. We get a brief glimpse of Indira Varma's Imperial officer character. There's also a droid with the name Ned written in Arabesh on its chest. For some reason, I want to guess that's Kumail Nanjiani's character. I could just see his voice coming out of that droid, but it could just as easily be O'Shea Jackson Jr. or Benny Safdie. As the trailer nears its end, we musically switch from Duel of the Fates to Battle of the Heroes. We see, I think, Reva's hand touching a crude carving of the Jedi symbol on a wooden wall or something, and then we see her confronting a man in an alleyway with a blaster. I have to assume that's Obi-Wan because he can't be running around using his lightsaber constantly. He's got to go with a less civilized approach to blend in, and gets into a blaster fight with some people on a rooftop. It could be that some bounty hunters will be on his trail in addition to the Inquisitors. We get one last good look at Obi-Wan before closing out. I'm surprised at how much they focused on the Inquisitors instead of him, but it's a good way to get fans excited and to also introduce the Jedi Hunters to people who haven't seen Rebels yet. We change music one last time to Anakin's Dark Deeds for the title card, and we can hear Darth Vader's breathing. We know he's coming. That's enough for now. I bet they'll save Vader for the full trailer, assuming we get one, which, again, I think we will. Wow, I loved that. My one criticism is the Grand Inquisitor, which is just, oh well, it's a nitpick in a sea of things that gave me chills. And my biggest takeaway is probably relief that yes, Obi-Wan is leaving Tatooine, but for a very good reason. It's hard to tell what the emotional story is going to be, but the potential setups are there and I like the possibilities. Surprising absolutely no one, I am so pumped to see this. Let me know what you thought of the trailer in the comments. If you've got questions I didn't address, put those in the comments as well and I might make a video or short to answer it. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page to keep up with all our Obi-Wan Kenobi coverage. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.